We are recording right now. I just want to confirm who I have here on the phone. Nicky Blackmarket, is that you, sir?
Yes, good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning to all my friends, family that are listening. We had to do this one
Wicked.
early.
Good morning, 1812 crew.
Nikki and I have already began talking a little, so I'm going to dive right into some industry questions. The first thing, I think you began spinning in your early teens. What inspired you to get into DJing?
Well, my mum was heavily into music. She knew people like jazz people, like Ronnie Scott, Cleo Lane, Johnny Dankworth, a whole load of jazz people. She used to be a dancer. She used to like dance in the clubs, and so I grew up listening to a lot of jazz, not liking it at the time, not really liking it, because when you're a little kid, you haven't grown into, you know, you haven't grown yet, and you haven't grown with the music, or you haven't matured with music, and it's funny, after when I look back on it, and I think, it obviously lodges in the back of your head, what you listened to when you were a little kid, but yeah, you kind of mature with it, with the music, and my mum gave me a big boost, a big kick up the arse, because a lot of people, you could say, their parents would probably, no, you don't want to be doing that, you don't want to be, you get a proper job or whatever, do you know what I mean? So it's, I've got big inspiration from my mum, God rest her soul.
That's amazing. So your mom encouraged you to actually do music rather than focus on, let's say, academics.
Big time, yeah, big time.
That's cool, man. What was your first rave experience then? Like, it sounds like you kind of grew up in an underground scene, but what would you say was your first rave?
Oh gosh, what do you mean? Playing or going out?
Going out, just experiencing it for the first time.
Oh gosh, I can't remember now. Obviously, it was the whole, the underground in England, and especially London. There was a big musical movement, like
I'm thinking like Speed nightclub.
Like,
Speed nightclub. Would that be?
Say that again.
Speed. I know Speed was apparently like a very hot spot in the early days.
Speed, yeah, but I'm talking way before that.
Okay.
Because like really we had, there was a lot of underground clubs, and to go and party probably was a thing called Shake and Finger Pop, to do with Trevor Nelson, to do with him, and it was way before drum and bass jungle. It was way before that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but when I first played, I played in a youth club years ago in England. When I was growing up, youth clubs used to be everyone used to go to the local youth club, and I remember playing there and being really excited, but had fear as well. Do you know what I mean? Had a little bit of fear before going on the decks, and it was from when I did that, I must have been about 15, and that was it really. Just get hooked.
And was it always about the music for you? A lot of people don't.
Of course.
It's always been
without a doubt. Always about the music. Obviously different back then. There was no internet. There was no, you had to go to your record shop. You had to go to there weren't, listen to pirate radio. Pirate radio back in the day was a very, very, very important thing and part of the scene growing up, and basically helped mould the music. If it weren't for pirate radio, then most of this probably wouldn't even be there.
It's truth, and what was created with pirate radio and people like yourself was a whole community, and asking you
without a doubt, and then it became people's way of life,
mm-hmm.
and records, you had to go and buy the record to listen to the record, or you would tape it, but you would want you'd actually want the record, so you'd have to go and buy the record from the record shop. And it was yeah. I mean, I went into the record shop business in 1990, and it was obviously even then. I mean, look, that's like 28 years ago. It's mad, you know. And basically, it was, record shops were like the internet back in the day, flagships for the scene, you know. And we'd have, like I'd play out at the weekend, or I'd play on the radio. Probably in the hardcore era, I was on Pulse FM. I was on Pulse FM. Then I went on to Eruption, and then went on to Cool FM with Stevie Hyper D, God rest his soul. And throughout those years, radio was very, very, very important, and helped advertise for the events, for the music itself. We'd play a tune, I'd play a tune, and maybe on the Sunday night on the radio, Monday morning, people waiting at the door to go in the shop. Have you got that tune? You couldn't do that with the major shops. You couldn't do that with HMV or any of them major record shops.
It's truth. You see, and you formed a sense of community. I want to talk about a couple of the things you just mentioned. You talked about your record shop in 1990, which has been attributed for actually creating the evolution of drum and bass based on an arena you had inside it. There was a gathering area that people came and they shared music. Can you elaborate on what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I look back on it, and there weren't jungle in. Obviously, it was pre-jungle, leading up to early 90s when the jungle thing really exploded. But back then, it was like, we were playing, I don't know, early Warp records. You could say bleeps and bass, a lot of bleeps and bass stuff, and early house and garage stuff. And the funny thing is, the likes of myself, like Randall, Groove, Fabs, Mickey, Randall, and the likes of Rap, all of us, of Frost, Brian, the likes of us that have gone on to do the drum and bass thing. They'd come in the shop, and then I would, we'd be pitching up those tunes from back then. We'd be pitching them up, and they'd be, I like that one. Yeah, it sounds good. It sounded better pitched up. We were already going on our tip already back then. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, and for people who don't know what pitching it up means, I think he means by speeding it up.
We were speeding up the tunes a little bit, and then you had people like I don't know, like the traditional house DJs coming in and going, what on earth are you doing? What are you doing that for? Like, as if we're ruining it. Which,
You're going too fast, damn it.
From back then, like, what are we doing? But we're already going on our tip already.
Mm-hmm. And it's
unknowingly. Do you know what I mean? Unknowingly, in the back of our head. Yeah, we knew what we were doing, but straight up in front of us, we were just going on doing our own thing.
You know what, Nicky? I want to. This is kind of metaphysical, and I don't want to dive too much into philosophy, but I've talked to other people around the world. Most recently, DJ Murdoch out of Belgium, and he attests that around the same time you guys were doing what you were doing in England, he was doing what he was doing in Belgium by just, like you say, pitching it up, speeding this stuff up. And he's like, it was coincidental, simultaneous. He's like, I give all the credit to those guys for creating the drum and bass and evolving it to what it was. But he's like, I admittedly was doing that by myself without hearing it first. So I think there's a collective consciousness that was occurring around the mid-90s.
Exactly. He's on that tip as well.
And it was.
Which is kind of mad.
Well, it's interesting that you guys had, you heard something within the sound. You were like, somebody made something and you were like, yeah, but this could be even better if we do this, and it evolved into a whole new sound. And like I say, from that sound, you've created a whole culture and community, and I I feel honored to be talking to you right now because you're definitely a bucket list conversation. I've wanted to talk to you since I started this podcast.
Oh, brilliant.
And but yes, thank you for chatting. Next question I want to ask you is about Stevie. You talked about Stevie. I was wondering if you could share a memory with us.
Well, one of them I could say was one of the I suppose just before he, literally like a week before he passed away. I'm sure it was that gig, Liquid Adrenaline, in Toronto, and just one of the highlights. I remember. Do you remember Liquid Adrenaline?
We
It
do.
used to be Hatteras that used to be running it, and his boys used
Yeah.
to run it. And that, I've got to say, is, you know, that was unbelievable. Because it was obviously before you lot kind of the whole Toronto thing went into clubland. It was a different era, warehouses, massive, massive venues. It was before the bill thing come in for you lot, which us it happened in '89. That kind of thing, that whole law thing going into clubland for us happened in '89, but you was obviously later on down the line. So this was '98, I do believe, and it was just an unbelievable event. It was so hot in there. It was so hot, but the vibes was just like, I was just laughing all the time because it was just the vibes. It was mental, and that set went so quick. It went so quick. Obviously, we were still playing records back then, and Stevie was loving it. It was just that the vibes that we got in there was just unbelievable.
It was, and you know what? I can never find a recording. I don't know if there is one.
There is. No, you need to check it. There is a recording out there somewhere. I do remember seeing it. So I'll try and check it. I'll try and check for one. Try and send it over. You try and check the net.
For sure.
There's one flying around there somewhere of that.
I've seen mislabeled ones. I've seen ones that say it, and then you play it, and you're like, that's not Liquid Adrenaline, man. That's not even Stevie. And then you hear like someone else hop on the mic, like Stevie does, and I'm like, this is maybe Nicky and Stevie, but you hear Det and Skippa too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, that one was just me and Stevie, Liquid Adrenaline in Toronto, and it was literally, I'm sure it was that one a week before he passed away, so it was quite a kind of deep one.
It was, and you're right. I don't know if it was exactly a week. I think it was a few weeks, but it was the last show. A lot of people mix it up too because the set that floats around is Mach 1, where he was here a couple months prior with Kenny Ken, and a lot of people think Stevie had come into Toronto, I think, in the month of May with Kenny. It was either April or May. He came in for a party that was thrown by Renegades called Mach 1, and it became a very famous set. Like everybody who's listened to a Stevie set listens to the Mach 1 set with Kenny Ken. And it's like, well, that wasn't actually his last set. His last set was with Nicky in June, and it was Liquid Adrenaline. So I love that you shared that memory. It kind of kills two birds with one stone because my next question was going to be a great memory in Toronto, but I think that's a good one.
Well, that's it. Well, that's it basically. That is basically it.
Well, and you're on your way out here. You're coming out to do a couple shows in on the 19th and 20th, I believe. And
yes, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm looking very forward to it.
Do you have any plans? Like, what are your plans? We know you're doing a show on the 19th at where is it? At the Last Planet headquarters, and then you're doing a show on the 20th at a secret rave. We can't announce the venue, but you can check online for the details. But are you just staying in for those 2 days, or do you plan to stay any longer?
Yeah, I'm afraid it is just an in and out one, which is a shame, but
that's no fun. We don't get to show you our beautiful city. What's the longest you've had to stay here? Like, have you had a chance to check out our city beyond the clubs?
Of course, yeah, of course. Must have been probably probably a week before or something like that, I think.
Well, that's good. As long as you've had a
But
chance.
yeah, do love Toronto. I love 1812, lad.
Well, yeah, I guess I got to ask you, like outside of our club district and let's say the CN Tower, what is the most beautiful spot you've seen in Toronto that you can remember?
The what? Sorry.
The most beautiful spot, the place you've enjoyed the most.
To be honest, I must say I love Toronto. I do love Toronto, but the whole of Canada is brilliant. The whole of Canada, it's lovely. From Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton over on the west, Ottawa. Yeah.
Boo, Ottawa.
I love it. I love it. I love it all. I love it all.
Well, thank you. I love our country as well. I want to ask you if there's any new tunes coming from Mr. Nick O.D.
Oh, not as Nick O.D., but there's stuff I've got coming. I've got collabs with Aries and with Voltage, so yeah, that's forthcoming.
What was the O.D., Nicky?
O.D.?
Yeah.
It's just something for the mind to think about.
Oh, okay.
could be a couple of things actually, but yeah, just for the mind to think about.
So we'll leave it out there as like a metaphor for people to figure out on their own. Okay, you kind of answered this earlier when you dropped the names that helped Blackmarket Records and the evolution of drum and bass occur. But I want to ask you if we had to create a Mount Rushmore for drum and bass, which four faces would you pick to go on that Mount Rushmore?
Well, I couldn't pick four. It would have to be 4,000. You couldn't just have four faces up there. It'd have to be quite a few. They'd have to carve out quite a few more.
Bunch of little faces instead of big four faces. We'd have a little.
Loads of little ones.
Okay. But the thing is, I'm gonna lean back to what you said in your previous answer because I've asked that question to the internet, and there's four that always shine like a beacon, and it's Randall, Groove Rider, yourself, and the fourth one's a toss-up. I always say, okay, so now you got that fourth slot. Who do you give it to? Is it Ronnie? Is it Andy? Is it Groove? Like, there's so many people, and like you said, you can have 4,000.
You have to put them all in because they you know, when you think about it, they're all part of that exclusive, important wall. They're one of the bricks in that important wall. You pull one of them out, it all falls down. They're all part of that wall. So that's when you say, oh, I only have four people. They're all important. They're all important.
That's so we just need to find some very large rock facing. Maybe the Rocky Mountains on our west coast. We can do a 4,000 face Mount Rushmore for drum and bass.
Wicked.
Final question for you, Nicky. If you could put 5 items in a vault that would encapsulate our rave culture, what would those 5 items be?
Again, it would have to be more than 5, but what would I put in there? Tape cassette,
Okay.
the turntable, probably the CD machine now because it's part and parcel of what it's become. Which God knows what in the next 20 years or even 10 years they're probably playing off our brain or something. They'll probably have a chip in our head.
Just think the song.
You know what I mean?
Do you hold on? Do you, Nicky? You were one of the guys who always carried around a record bag. Have you gone down to the USB now?
Yeah, I'm playing USB. I'm playing on the USB. I mean, it's like it or like it or not. It's the way how it's gone. It's good and bad. Obviously, technology. The thing is, you can't halt technology. So you have to keep rolling with it.
Well, it's also a lot easier, I'm sure, to travel on a plane without 6 crates of records coming along.
Well, there you go. But having the thing of the whole record thing, it's just, I had the record shop for nearly 25 odd years, and it's like, I'd be lying to say that I didn't miss the shop, but it's just you know, for people that can do it on records, you can never you can emulate it, but to you know, it's hands on.
Well, the sound is different, man. There's a sense of soul, I think, removed when you went from vinyl to the
Yeah, it's
MP3.
analog, isn't it? It's analog. It's analog, but obviously, like I say, you can't halt technology. It's got to keep going. So it's you know that's how it goes.
I get you.
Go with
Well,
the flow.
we got three items there. So you got the CD, you've got the tape cassette, and what was the other item you had in there? CD,
Turntable,
turntable.
CD machine, a
Right.
record, um, and probably for now, probably USB because that's probably not going to last for long. It's going to be something else.
You've got like the evolution of drum and bass in this vault.
What's that?
It's like the evolution of drum and bass all in the vault. From the
Yeah. You could say, yeah. And who knows next? Who knows?
like you said, it's going to be you think the song.
Yeah, or it goes through. You got a little chip or something in your head, or you know, you never know.
Have you played any of these silent parties where people wear headphones and there's no loud music?
Yeah. I think it's when you take the headphones off, it's very odd. Everyone raving, and then you take the headphones off. It was where did I play that? I did a festival in a forest in Switzerland, and done the after party, which was you know they had to turn all the music off by a certain time, but the after party, same place, in one of the smaller arenas that they had, they all gave out headphones, and then the next thing I'd take the headphones off. It was really surreal. It was, you know, very quiet and very odd.
It's got to, but you have to admit it is kind of unique, and they found a way around noise pollution, right?
It's different. Yeah, it's different. It's different. I've got to say that.
Kudos to them. Well, Nicky, here, stay on the phone with me. I want to talk to you, but I just want to sign off to my listeners, okay?
Wonderful. Lovely. Big up the 1812 crew. Looking forward to when I'm coming over.
All right, thank you, Nicky. Well, that was him, guys. Nicky Blackmarket. Please come check him out on the 19th, Last Planet headquarters. You can get in contact with Drew or Dylan for that, or get in contact with Brian for the secret rave happening on October the. Or sorry, I switched up the dates. The 19th is going to be the secret rave in Cambridge, and Last Planet headquarters on October the 20th. Nicky Blackmarket, thanks for talking to me, buddy.
Brilliant.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, peace out.